Good morning and welcome to Tech Check Plus. I'm Julia Borston, CNBC's senior media and technology reporter, and I'm so excited to be joined this morning by Brit Morin. Brit, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be back.
So, Brit, you have a lot of titles. Most people may know you as co-founder of Brit & Co., a very popular web platform. Now you're also co-founder of Offline Ventures, a new VC fund, and you have this new initiative called BFF. I'm very curious to hear about BFF because I know you have a big event coming up this afternoon. Explain to us, what is BFF?
So BFF is a new initiative to onboard more women and non-binary people into the crypto and Web3 ecosystem. It's something I've been passionate about for years, having gotten pretty deep into crypto in 2017, right as things really started to explode. But with everything that happened over the course of 2021, I watched as only 19% of women were participating. And if this is truly the next era of the internet, I felt like it was time to onboard more people into this that can help shape the future. So it's an open access community that provides connection, education, and hopefully some financial rewards as we move forward into this weird and wild world of Web3.
So you have some very high profile names participating with you as co-founders as they're listed in this new community. It's like from Gwyneth Paltrow to Rebecca Minkoff from the fashion space, some big VCs such as Kirsten Green, and then some CEOs of companies like Jen Hyman from Rent the Runway. Who are these women who are partnering with you on this? And what does it mean that they're co-founders with you?
Yeah, the cool thing about this Web3 or Web 3.0 ecosystem is that it's decentralized, meaning that everyone that participates is effectively an owner. And I thought to myself, if we want to get more women involved in this category, women are naturally very communal. Why don't we all do it together? Why don't we create one of the biggest brands to onboard women into Web3? And let's all be part owners. Let's all be co-founders in this together. And I started reaching out to not just my tech friends and my VC friends, but women across industries. Like you said, Gwyneth Paltrow, Mila Kunis, Tyra Banks, even from the entertainment world. We've got artists, we've got authors, we've got athletes, all kinds of people, because truly I believe that the future of the internet is going to be one that impacts all of us. And if we're only onboarding the 1% of Silicon Valley, then I don't think we're doing our job right. So together, all of us are contributing both expertise and knowledge, as well as voting on the directions we take. And once we build the larger community through BFF, which are everyday people who want to come in and get involved and be part owners of it too, we will together shape what the future is and where we go next.
So interesting. So is this a DAO?
Not currently. Right now, that seems like too much for people. Right now, we do have a Discord. It's not gated, though. You don't have to pay anything to get in. Everything's completely free. But we want to use our community's voices to help contribute to the strategy of where we go next. What do they think we should do together? Right now, it's also because everything is free. No one is having to pay anything. We're contributing to help fund this right off the ground. Me and my co-founder, Jamie Schmidt, are personally getting this started together and hopefully, reinvesting anything that we do make in the future right back into it to keep growing.
So interesting. So I know you have this big event happening this afternoon. From what I understand, tens of thousands of women have signed up. I signed up because I'm trying to learn more about Web3 and I'm very interested in NFTs and what direction they go into. So I'm on this Discord server and I know that you're inviting people to create a wallet, which would give them the possibility of getting an NFT. What is going to happen at this event tonight? And are you going to be giving NFTs out?
Well, we have been winking at people that we really encourage them to have a wallet set up if they don't even know what a wallet is, which 55% of them, by the way, say they do not, which is awesome. I can't wait to be like the person that helps them create their first crypto wallet. But we will have an opportunity for them to receive something. I cannot say exactly what, but you can use your imagination as to what that might be. There is nothing that anyone will have to pay. And I think that's another reason to join live if you can.
Well, it sounds like a very exciting opportunity for people who are trying to learn about this to just get a better context for what's going on. So you have this big event happening tonight. It's free, it's open. What is going to be the next step for BFF? Are you going to be investing in crypto or NFTs? What's the next iteration of this?
If I know anything about women, which I think I know a lot, having run women's brands for the last 11 years or so, I know that they will totally take risks, especially financial risks, if they feel educated enough to do it. It's the same in the public markets, right? You see, women will actively participate as long as they know and have a feeling of like what they're doing. So our first step on the roadmap is really to continue these educational events to help people like you, Julia, truly understand like what is an NFT and how do I use it? Is it just a JPEG? Is this all a scam? What are the environmental concerns? You know, all of the feedback that you're hearing publicly in the press, we want to actually educate them so they understand what this all is, how they can use it, and how they can either participate as a retail investor or actually maybe become a builder. I was shocked to see recently that only 4% of crypto entrepreneurs are female, all of which have a male co-founder. This was recently reported by The Street, and it blew my mind. So I not only think this is important to educate women so that they can potentially make money as this market grows, but really to help build the inroads that will become the future internet.
Well, I've been working to educate myself on this for over a year now, and I still think there's more and more to learn. People on YouTube are asking for the link. Can you share the link? Is it handy?
Yeah, the link is minted.mybff.xyz. That's the link for the event. It will obviously appear live at 4:30 p.m. Pacific today. If you do just want more information about BFF, it's mybff.xyz. A lot of people ask why .xyz. That's kind of a cool in the group thing with web3.xyz.io. These are the types of domain names that crypto related companies are using. So just wanted to clarify that why it might sound funny because it's not a .com.
Yeah, there are other ones. You were a Brit.co for,
That's right.
So,
well, yeah, .co and .com I feel like are very Web 2.0, but Web 3.0 apparently is .io and .xyz.
So I think the timing of this is interesting. You must have been working on this for a long time, but of course, this does come as the different cryptocurrencies have seen a major sell-off. Bitcoin, Ether, they're all way down from their highs. And a lot of people are wondering if they're going to continue to decline. And of course, with the crypto decline, NFTs are generally tied to the value of cryptocurrencies. I'm wondering if you're worried that this is a bad time to be doing this. Do you think that women could be getting into this space too late or even way too early, depending on what happens next?
Sure. It's a great question. And I think there are a couple of ways to answer that. The first one is, even though the crypto markets are definitely down, and a lot of people are calling this a crypto winter, we're still massively up, especially over the last 5 or 6 years. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are on average up like 10,000%. Last year in 2021, we saw remarkable growth of over 100% in the total crypto markets across all the coins. So the fact that we're down right now, we're still actually up year over year, which is really cool. So the trajectory is still very positive upwards. I also think when the markets are down, as you know, as everyone knows that watches CNBC, sometimes that's a great buying opportunity. Everything's on sale, right? And we're not encouraging people to go buy if they don't have money that they can lose, because this is certainly a volatile market. But if you wanted to start participating in this ecosystem, it's definitely much cheaper to do so now than it was even a month or two ago.
You mentioned the idea of risk before, this idea that women are going to be wary to invest in things they don't fully understand, but this is a particularly risky area. Web3 is still very new. You have NFTs. A lot of people are not entirely sure about what their fundamental value is. And there's some NFTs like the Bored Apes that have continued to go up and up in value, but others are a lot more volatile. And then you have all the regulatory risk around crypto. How do you address the fact that you're advocating for women to get into a space that is really unsure? It's not like these are regulated areas or stocks that have, a lot of public disclosures and track records for people to look at.
Totally. It reminds me so much of the early 2000s. I remember actually explaining to people, one of my first jobs was working at this smartphone company. That wasn't even a term yet, by the way, in like 04, 05, called Radar. And I was explaining to people what an MMS message was and an SMS was, and what a camera phone was and a data plan was. And everyone was like, no way, we're never going to have messages on our phone and videos that we're sending to each other, and how is this all going to work? And at the same time, Facebook had just started, and Friendster and MySpace were the big social media networks at the time. And no one understood the power of what was about to happen with Web 2.0, with social networks and smartphones, right? The Congress didn't even have the term social media anywhere in its law. So I feel like we're at that moment right now. And it's certainly new. This is like dial-up internet style new. You have to be prepared for everything to change. Regulation is certainly going to come. Different countries are regulating everything differently. Some are, blocking you from buying crypto at all. We obviously want you to follow the law wherever you are. But again, for BFF and for women in general, I want them to just understand how this works, because there's an unlock that happens in the way you think about your participation as an internet user, as well as, again, as a creator, as an entrepreneur, and as a public person, in this world, this technological world, who can ultimately advance where we go next.
So it sounds like you see this as very early days, very early rather than too late to be getting into this space, and really about educating so more people can participate.
Yeah. And I think like worst case is maybe you don't even get a wallet. Maybe you don't buy anything, but you at least understand the frameworks of what blockchain is and what it means to have, an immutable chain that has, your ownership of whatever you have on it tied to it at all times, right? And it can't be hacked. It's replicated across millions of servers. It's a new technological framework that just hasn't existed before. If that's all you take away from tonight, and it unlocks a little bit of understanding of why this could be better for the internet, then I call it a success.
Very interesting. So I would also want to remind our viewers that you also have this fund, Offline Ventures. Explain to us how this is adjacent to or complementary to your fund, and what your fund is focused on, because it's relatively new.
Yeah, we started the fund in 2020 during the pandemic, for better or for worse. And with the idea that, we believe that some of the best investments over the next 10 years are going to be those that use technology to improve our offline lives, our real lives. If you look back over the last 10 years, some of the best IPOs were things like Uber and Peloton and Airbnb, and call it what you want with where the stock is right now, but they were very successful. And they are all things that, again, take technology and use it to improve your health, the way your mobility, your travel experiences, et cetera. With things like healthcare and education and childcare and the global warming crisis, we also believe technology has a bigger role to play in the next 10 years in solving some of those challenges to, again, improve our offline lives. I think Web3 naturally comes into this in a really kind of ironic way. You wouldn't think like this is something that improves our offline lives. But to me, Web3 and the promise of the blockchain and all of us having more ownership over our digital goods is actually going to improve a lot of our mental health, and a lot of our relationships with one another, because Web3 is built on the back of community. So Offline has been investing in this category for the last 2 years. We have made probably close to 20 investments into crypto and Web3 companies thus far. And that's why I became so fascinated with the idea of finding more women to participate.
And just a quick final question. What's the risk if women don't get involved in Web3? You were involved in very early ages of the internet. What happens if this Web3 continues to be as dominated by men, if you look at the percentage of ownership of crypto and NFTs as it is right now?
Well, I think once again, if you look back at any industry where women were either not allowed to participate legally or simply did not show up, it became a place that women didn't want to go. Look at venture capital, for instance. One of the reasons why I'm a venture capitalist. Look at the technology ecosystem. It's taken us years to onboard more women into venture capital roles. Still only 2% of venture funding goes to female founders. We are not at the table shaping the future of this world. And therefore, there's so much lack of access and opportunity for those coming after us. I'm really hopeful that as we build this next bridge of the internet, we can open the doors and open the floodgates for more people of all different types, not just women and non-binary people, but all marginalized communities, to have a seat at the table, put a stake in the ground, and say, this is what I want my future internet to look like. I'm going to either go build it, or I'm going to invest in it, or I'm going to bring some friends along to help shout from the rooftops that we need this to create a better society digitally.
Well, Brit, that's a perfect note to end on. Brit Morin, thank you so much for joining us today for this Tech Check